we're going to move on to agenda item 1, and it's discussion and possible direction to staff regarding election-related issues, including the following: establishment of elected mayor, potential ballot measures, currently qualified ballot measure, campaign signs, campaign regulations, and filling a vacancy. And I do want to clarify that each of this is a discussion and direction. We're not going to make a decision tonight because we can't, because it's not clarified. We didn't spell out on the agenda, yes, we want the mayor to be paid $100 more. What this is an open conversation with the council, with public input, and then direction. Staff will bring back these items in greater detail at future council meetings. So this is purely discussion and direction. I also want to clarify that the one item, the qualified ballot measure, an initiative amending the Encinitas Municipal Code to authorize and regulate medical marijuana dispensaries in Encinitas, is just that. It's a qualified ballot measure. It's only here to inform you that that will, in fact, be on the 2014, the November 2014 ballot. This is not a discussion as to whether it should or should not be. It will be. So just to clarify that. And then if we could have speakers.
First speaker, Eugene Davidovich, Arlene Rutenbeck, Heidi Whitman.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council members. My name is Eugene Davidovich. I'm with the San Diego chapter of Americans for Safe Access. I'm a volunteer that works on the issue of medical cannabis very actively throughout the county of San Diego. And as most of you know, since 1996, the law allowing sick and dying patients, those who legitimately need medical marijuana, has been on the books. It's been over 16 some odd years. Unfortunately, in the city of Encinitas, we have not seen any citywide regulations regulating that access. Fortunately, we have an initiative that's on the ballot next year that would provide and establish strict regulations, strict operational requirements, hours of operation, zoning, et cetera, for where and how collectives, cooperatives, dispensaries for patients who legitimately need access to medical marijuana, where they can be located. We've recently heard the federal government come out and state clearly in the Cole memo that localities that have strict regulations will not be targeted by the federal government, that they will allow those localities to implement their regulations. So we know that if this initiative passes, it wouldn't be challenged by the federal government. And it would allow sick and dying patients once and for all access in the city of Encinitas. And I'm hoping to have support from each and every one of you next November when this initiative comes up for a vote. I hope you vote yes, because we need safe access. And unfortunately, we haven't seen this council put together any kind of rules and regulations or an alternative or anything else. So certainly hoping we can have your support on that. And also, this weekend, there's the San Diego Film Festival happening, and they're screening a movie there called Ride with Larry. I encourage every one of you to take a look at more information about the movie and to attend the film festival if you can. It's Saturday at 3:30 is when they're screening this movie in La Jolla at the UTC. The movie is about a Parkinson's patient, somebody who's been suffering all his life. And it's about an inspirational story of him dealing with his condition, him riding across the state to raise money for Parkinson's. The Parkinson's Society of San Diego is sponsoring this event. They'll be there. Our organization will be there to answer medical marijuana-related questions, because at the end of the movie, the main thing is, the only thing that helps this Parkinson's patient with his dyskinesia and other symptoms of Parkinson's, the shaking and such, is medical cannabis. In the movie, there's a clip that shows him going to a local doctor here in San Diego, getting a medical marijuana recommendation, going to a local dispensary, which has since unfortunately been raided in the city of San Diego, and finding amazing relief. Literally, his shaking stops. So these sorts of things, and these are the sorts of reasons why we need regulations in the city of Encinitas. And I hope to have all of your support, again, next November, and I hope all of you can take a look at this movie again. It's called Ride with Larry. Thank you very much.
Arlene?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name's Arlene. I've been a resident of Encinitas for close to 30 years. I, too, am affiliated with Americans for Safe Access as a volunteer. And my reason for being here tonight is to help in any way I can to educate anyone who still needs some education on the benefits of medical cannabis. I live in a state that has legalized medical marijuana with a doctor's recommendation. But I have so many instances, two of which I'm going to discuss, where I have very close friends. One of them had a child who was diagnosed at 13 months old with cancer, and in order for the parents to have their little boy a little longer, they did choose chemo. They did not know the benefits of medical marijuana, where it would have made his last months. He lived until he was 3 in severe chemo result of the symptoms of going through chemotherapy. Had I known that there was access to it, I didn't at the time. I now see that there is not safe access to it. I have a very close friend who his wife suffers from Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, and Crohn's disease. After the little boy passed away, I started to do my own research and realized that if she has lung problems, she cannot smoke medical cannabis. Her husband started baking it in brownies for her. The person that he was getting it from was closed down, raided, closed down, and he was put in jail the following day, my friend. He had frozen brownies that he would give his wife so that she could sleep through the night due to her ailments. He ended up spending time in jail. He is out now. It is behind him. But I feel the need to try to do my best in educating people on the importance of safe access for those who have doctor recommended, not a recreational item, a medicinal item. Doctor recommended relief for the pain and the symptoms that they're going through in some of their diseases. Before the meeting started tonight, I addressed envelopes to each one of you, inviting you to a meeting that we have every month. The meeting in North County for San Diego ASA is at Captain Kino's. It will be October 29th of this month. I, and certainly the other members of ASA, encourage you to help with this problem with the people who are sick and the people who are dying so that they can have some relief. To come and learn more about our organization, volunteer if you find necessary. We always need help in educating others on if they have a child or a husband or a son.
Thank you very
or
much.
Daughter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Heidi Whitman, Judy Strang, followed by Alex Fidel.
Hi, my name is Heidi Whitman. I'm here today to ask for you guys' support for the Regulate Medical Marijuana initiative on the Encinitas ballot next year. Right now, like you heard Arlene say, patients are being criminalized for using medical marijuana as a direct result of our local government's failure to enact regulations. The federal government has called on local governments to enact medical marijuana regulations so that we can clear up this problem. Over 16 years ago, Prop 215 was passed by the voters of California. We still don't have any regulations in the county of San Diego. There are over 70,000 patients that live in San Diego County alone, and that number was 2 years ago, so there's probably more. We need safe access. As you heard, people that are providing safe access in an unregulated market are being targeted by state officials and federal officials. This threat would go away if we had local regulations. I'm asking you guys to support the initiative on the ballot in November. We need regulations. It's about time. I am a medical marijuana patient myself. I was in a severe boat accident. I have 2 plates in my face amongst multiple dental damage. I developed a condition called cyclic vomiting syndrome, and I use medical marijuana to eat and get enough calories in my body on a daily basis. So I hope you listen to my story today, and I hope you all support the initiative on the ballot this November. Thank you.
And Judy does have a time donation from Janet. Janet, are you here? Yes. Oh, thank you.
Good evening, City Council. Judy Strang, just here on behalf of San Diego Alliance for Drug-Free Youth, a 30-year-old prevention coalition that operates here in the San Diego region. And I'd just like to respectfully give you a little back history of the situation that we now find ourselves in. In Prop 215, did not legalize marijuana, but allowed a patient or a caregiver to have an affirmative defense when stopped by law enforcement when they were in the possession of marijuana. A patient is a person who a doctor has provided a recommendation to use marijuana. A caregiver is someone involved in the care of the patient and provides marijuana to that patient. The law was clarified with what was called SB 420, which allowed a caregiver to provide for more than one patient. Somehow we leapfrogged from that to pot stores opening throughout the state. When you work in prevention like we do and work on behalf of young people, we've had lots of opportunity to see what happened with the pot shops. The pot shops became a place where diversion occurred and where the normalization of pot use was occurring as our young people walked by those stores. I think it's important to know that in 2008, the Attorney General did provide guidelines for the way that pot shops and the distribution of marijuana should operate. And they declared, and I'll provide this to you, that nothing in Proposition 215 or SB 420 authorizes dispensaries, collectives, cooperatives, or individuals to profit from the sale or distribution of marijuana, and pot shops do just that. They also said that the exchange of marijuana between a caregiver and a patient should be a closed circuit of marijuana cultivation and consumption with no purchase or sales. They also said that dispensaries that merely require patients to complete a form summarily designating the business owner as their primary caregiver and then offering marijuana in exchange for cash donations is likely unlawful. As you may know, this last summer, the California Supreme Court did say that cities and counties have the right to ban pot shops. At this particular time, 90% of the cities and counties in the state of California have banned pot shops, and I have that list for you. My observation is the reason why these cities and counties have done this is not preemptively, but because they've lived with pot shops in their community and saw what it looked like for their citizens and for their young people, and so then chose to ban them. Here in the county, with its 18 cities, none of our cities allow pot shops. You've probably read about what's going on in the city of San Diego as they have dealt with the pot shops opening even though it was against the law. I think it's important to realize the diversion of marijuana to young people is a serious issue. We just returned from a conference where we had some of the lead researchers on adolescent brain development speak to us and show to us in slides what it looks like for the adolescent brain to begin its use of marijuana and the loss to an adolescent when that brain development is interrupted. In fact, one of our speakers said what we should be concerned about is not the war on drugs, but the defense of the brain, because the loss to an individual of the ability to grow and to learn and to interact and be successful in education and in the employment world is really a very important aspect, and we want our young people to have that opportunity. San Diego Alliance is a coalition that's worked on behalf of young people for many years, and we continue to be very concerned about the normalization of marijuana. Our latest San Diego Union High School Healthy Kids Survey stats indicate that marijuana use among teens is continuing to increase and has done so since 2007. We just wanted to take this opportunity to share this information with you. Thank you. And I do have my thoughts as well as the list of the cities and the counties.
I'm an advocate of electoral reform. fair and open processes for debates, media coverage, and polling of all ballot qualified candidates, and ending the two-party stranglehold on the democratic process. And that obviously referring to the mayoral election, but I would also like to personally thank the city for allowing the people to decide whether or not they would like to respect the rights of the dying who choose or may not have any other choice to use medical cannabis. But again, I would still urge the city to do something in the interim to allow people who would otherwise die without it a safe place to get it, rather than giving their money to the cartels with questionable quality medicine and, of course, questionable quality people, because patients are out of time. I would hope that people vote yes on the initiative, since it was written by patients and community members with the harmony of both in mind. I would also like to, since on the topic of ballot initiatives, I would like to inform the audience about a possible ballot initiative that is in petition circulation as of now. It's the statewide California Cannabis Hemp Initiative. It would end prohibition of cannabis and industrial hemp in California completely, regardless of what the federal government says. It would allow for recreational for 21 and over, not interfere with medical cannabis laws, would save over $500 million in tax revenue and reduce law enforcement budgets, ban GMO cannabis, and would reduce cartel violence because prohibition causes the violence. Both the main actors from Breaking Bad know firsthand that without prohibition there are no cartels, just as Corona and Coors don't shoot it out. Both the actors of Breaking Bad support the legalization of cannabis. I don't know if any of you have kids at home, but I'm an unemployed college student and an unpaid journalist, spending my prime years and my parents. But with industrial hemp jobs, many of us would do our parents a favor and work hard enough to move out. Why suppress that economy at all? So anyone interested in putting it on the ballot, see me. I have the petitions, and you just need to be a registered voter in the state of California. And as a candidate for public office, I'll PR hog this by signing the initiative right here in public, and I'd be glad to extend the offer to any other member of the city. You don't have to support the initiative itself, but by signing it to be on the ballot, you are supporting the people's voice and democracy, which is different. You can still vote no. I would like to see California go the way of Colorado and Washington. Now on the mayor's race, I would like to see both the mayor and city council's race conducted in instant runoff voting. It allows for a clear majority winner to be established without subsequent elections, saves the city millions of dollars, and reduces the stigma of a lesser of two evils thing, that it allows people to vote for who they really want to, even though that stigma is a false stigma created by propaganda. And also just open debates, open media coverage. I voted for Gary Johnson in 2012, and I was just disgusted by how he was treated by the national media and the political system. So open, open, open. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Next speakers, Lynn Braun, Nicole Kaufman with a time donation by Mitchell. Mitchell Larson, are you here? Oh, thank you, Mitchell. And then followed by Vivian McCardle.
Okay, Lynn Meyer, Lucadia. I may have written. Wait, don't start my time yet. Okay. Lynn Meyer, Lucadia. My husband Russell and I both agree that our city could and should determine that sitting council members cannot run for mayor without vacating their seats. Otherwise, those up for re-election should not have to choose between running for council and mayor. You should all be able to run for both if you so desire, and so should the private citizens. If you want, unless you decide that sitting council members cannot run for mayor. We elected council members Schaefer, Muir, and Kranz for a 4-year term. In order to run for mayor, they could either wait for 2016 or vacate their seats, which they probably won't do. Tonight's agenda, to me it seems as though the two persons with the highest number of votes at the general election for city council members should each fill the 2 open council seats that would be available if a sitting council member were to be elected next year. You know, if you don't go by our suggestion and you say sitting council members can. But according to Glenn Sabine's interpretation of statutory law, that there would either have to be a special election or an appointment for the vacated seat. And so that person who were to, if a person were to be appointed, it should be the person who got the next number of votes. And that would only be for a 2-year term, because you're just filling the 2-year vacancy that's left of that sitting council person. It really complicates it when you allow a sitting council person to run for mayor. But it's already out of balance, because the way it is now, there's going to be 1 seat open for mayor and 1 seat open for a council member. And then in 2 years, there's going to be 3 seats open for mayor and 1 seat open for, 3 seats open for council and 1 seat open for mayor, because the mayor is only a 2-year term. So it's going to be off balance every single time. If you, our suggestion is, and I asked the clerk, she said she thought it was state law, but I'd like to know the code if it is. But I think everyone, not just the mayor, should have 2-year terms, because then you could also participate for not that much more in the primaries. It wouldn't cost that much more, and it would help to narrow down the field of candidates and not dilute it so much with the primary. And as far as the mayor, that should definitely be in the primary, because for once we could have a mayor elected by a majority, not just a plurality. And that would be huge to us. And for this time, if you participated in the primary, you'd also be able to do that for the council person, since there's only going to be 1 seat open. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council members, I come to you as a normal, average citizen. I grew up in Encinitas, so I am a direct product of this wonderful city. And I got to mention that I absolutely love what you've done with Moonlight Beach. It's great. I also come to you as a Republican brought up on conservative values. And what I want from you is to accept that as far as medical marijuana is concerned, abstinence doesn't work. We have found that out. And I have come to you to ask for your support in regulations that offer a reasonable compromise to this drug war. In terms of pot shops and children, I would much rather have specific buildings set up in a certain amount of feet from schools in certain areas that people know that they are operating in that area, instead of having a medical dispensary or cartel or some drug dealer parked up right next to a preschool. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I have a friend back here who is a little shy to get up here and speak, but my friend back here in a wheelchair has compromised nerve roots and damaged spinal cord that cause pain that is controlled by pharmaceuticals. Medical cannabis is the only way that he can get out of bed. Having local access is important because he cannot drive and needs somewhere to obtain medicine. I myself have PTSD, and though I look like a normal average person, I don't really look disabled or anything like that. It really helps calm me down, and I am not about to touch Ambien because that stuff could have me driving while sleeping. And cannabis has a much safer alternative to that, and it's natural. It doesn't come out of a petri dish. So for those of us who need and want our rights to be looked at, we truly appreciate any support in coming up with some sort of a compromise to this issue. Thank you very much.
Two more speakers, Vivian McCardle, followed by Nancy Logan.
Good evening, Mayor and Deputy Mayor, City Council. The children are one of the reasons why this ordinance was written. I agree with Nick, that not having regulations in the state, you don't have any way of identifying who the medical marijuana dealers might be, and they could be set up anywhere. So I think the regulations really kind of identify where they are. But that, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I actually wanted to talk about veterans. I just recently met a veteran who has throat cancer and has no access to medical cannabis. And I think regulations would help veterans tremendously because they don't have a lot of resources and means. And I hope that you support this initiative. Thank you.
Hello, Nancy Logan, longtime Encinitas resident. I think all of you know that San Diego Alliance works nonstop with youth. As a matter of fact, today I spent a couple hours at La Costa Canyon High School training all of the alcohol, tobacco-free seniors to go speak to all of the elementary schools in your district here about their wonderful choice to be alcohol, tobacco, and drug-free. And we've worked so long with youth, and you know, we learn, we talk to them. You don't need commercialization of marijuana. You can get it anywhere. Google marijuana, Encinitas. You'll get it. You don't need to have retail stores selling marijuana. Okay? There's plenty of it out there. And please don't think we're not compassionate. We're very compassionate, very, very compassionate. But we have assessed many, many, many pot shops. And it's not the sick people going in getting it. It's the youth. And let's not make it any easier for them. Thank you very much.